Hello, my name is Lauren, and I am from KATC Radio, and today I will be telling about the World War I and how New Mexico was involved and what happened. So, starting off in 1941, the islands had remained our largest valuable possession of the Far East, and the Japanese planned an attack of capturing the Philippines and forcing the United States to leave the Far East. And most likely they probably left behind supplies and resources that the Japanese would find very handy, which in fact they did. So actually, 3 months prior to the war, a group of Hispanic Native American members, specifically 1,826 of them, had been training in Fort Worth, Texas, and they had been recruited as well as teenagers. And before they set sail on the Pacific Ocean to go help the NMNG workers had given them a farewell, aka the New Mexico National Guard workers, had given them a farewell before they had set sail on the Pacific Ocean of August of 1941. So moving on would be that most of the soldiers from New Mexico got paid around $15 a month, which would average out to about $195 to $200 in today's money, which would not be a lot to cover bills or groceries, but at the time that was a lot of income for them since the Great Depression and the very hard time, since it was a hard time definitely during the Great Depression, as well as mobilized as 200th Coast Artillery, aka AA. The New Mexicans were in the thick of the fight during December of 1941 to April of 1942, so that just meant the fight was a lot heavier on them, or it took a lot more, a lot more work and resources, and the Japanese soldiers had actually started recruiting and taking as many soldiers, men, as they could get, and throwing them on their ship to go help them during the war, which definitely gave them an advantage since they had more recruits than the Americas. So that meant that America had been defeated, but they didn't really stop, because that meant that the American fleet that had carried reinforcements, supplies, food, water over the Pacific Ocean, and once the Japanese had found out, they decided to make a really intricate plan to sink that ship. And once they did sink the ship near Pearl Harbor, that meant that any supplies, resources, or anything like that was destroyed because it sunk into the bottom of the ocean. But since the soldiers didn't get any of that supplies that they were supposed to from that ship, that meant that they were very weak, and that did not help them at all, because some of the soldiers from America or New Mexico were very weak and dying, and that ship held a lot of resources for them. So that had led to America surrendering to the Japanese on April 9th of 1942. This chapter was very interesting to read, and I had a really fun time reading it. So I hope you enjoyed my little podcast. Bye!